Welcome to this hour of BNC Live. I'm Laverne McGee on this Wednesday, July the 28th. Thanks for being with us. Well, I hope you didn't throw away all of your masks because the CDC has now updated their masking recommendations. This comes as schools across the country prepare to return to the classroom this fall, in some places as early as in the next couple of weeks. The agency now encouraging all teachers, staff, and students to wear those masks indoors, even if you've had a vaccine. CDC Director Rochelle Walensky spoke to CNN today on the return to normal.
We've seen over the summer that there have been numerous school outbreaks in places that haven't taken the proper prevention strategies. Our goal right now is to make sure that children get back to school to full in-person learning full time and have a relatively normal school year.
Class actually starts in a matter of days in some states, and now the CDC is calling for all K-12 students and staff to wear a mask indoors. School districts like Atlanta and New Orleans public schools were some of the first to reinstate those mask guidelines. We're going to talk now to our correspondent Janice Price. She's live in New Orleans, telling us about how some states are fiercely fighting this guidance. Janice, good to see you.
Good afternoon, Laverne. There's some major pushback from parents and lawmakers. They're against any guidance that will require a mask. Now, some states already have legislation in place that bans schools from making a mask mandate. Some of those states include Vermont, Iowa, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, Utah, and South Carolina. Now, the CDC reinstated its indoor mask guidance on Tuesday, which recommends everyone, regardless of their vaccine status, to wear a mask where transmission rates are high, and this guidance extends through K-12 classrooms. Now, the new guidelines are brought on as cities across the country are experiencing a COVID surge brought on by that highly contagious Delta variant. Now, health leaders say vaccines are your greatest protection against COVID, but many students don't qualify for a vaccine. Students under 12 are currently ineligible to receive that vaccine. And another reason some districts are moving to mask mandates is because of the number of students who are under 12. For New Orleans public schools, that's about 22,000 students. So a lot of school districts are moving forward with that mask mandate, taking in the CDC recommendation just because of the number of students who are under 12, and they want to make sure that they're protected, they're safe, and they continue in-person learning. Laverne?
Janice, are any of these school districts implementing additional mitigation measures in areas where COVID transmission rates are high?
Laverne, today, New Orleans Public School District announced that they will add those additional measures. They are doing additional testing starting in September. They'll have weekly surveillance testing for students, staff, and teachers. It's an effort to make sure they can quickly identify any positive COVID cases. And this is something that is funded through the CDC, through the American Rescue Plan. So a lot of attention being paid to those students, making sure that they can have a successful school year. Again, they said the priority is safety, also making sure students can remain in the classroom for this fall semester. In New Orleans, I'm Janice Price for BNC.
All right, thank you so much for that report, Janice. And of course, not all parents are happy about the possibility of schools returning to mask mandates despite rising rates of infections across the country. Joining me now is one of those parents, Jennifer Boer-Cueva. She is the mother of a son with autism and also the spokesperson for Unmask the Kids New York and Show Me Your Face New York. Good to see you. I want to hear all about your reasons for not wanting to have people wear masks and children wear masks.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. The CDC took an abrupt reversing course yesterday on their new guidance, recommending that the schools now do universal masking regardless of vaccine status. And schools are not super spreaders. I don't believe that masks should be mandatory in the school setting, that it should be the parents' choice to mask their children or not. This is going to be a real difficult time that I think that we're going to embark on now in the next few weeks before school starts.
Jennifer, I see you have your son there with you. I didn't realize that he was going to be with you, so welcome to him also. I'm glad to have him. What does he think about all of this?
Well, what do you think, Jesse, about the masks and for 6th grade?
Well, I should think when on my first day of school, a few days ago, a lot of days we went outside and then
You had trouble with the mask.
we had trouble with the mask, and all my friends can't resist the
They had trouble
heat.
breathing.
Yeah, and like it felt like we were gonna faint.
Do you want them for 6th grade?
They should get rid of the mask because we can't like breathe. It's not fair if
To have to wear the mask all day.
inside and we only get to take it off outside. It's like not fair.
Not fair, huh? Yeah, I guess it's hard on kids. It really is. We understand that. But I want to ask your mom. You know, they say they're trying to help you and your child. They want you and your child to be safe. They're not just trying to make your life miserable. I know it can be tough. So, how do you make peace with that, knowing that this is the group, the CDC, their job and their role is to have people who are experts to try to help people be safe during what the entire world is going through. And it is tough for the little ones. It's tough for us as adults. How do you make peace with the fact that these are scientists and these are experts in their field? These are people with astonishing skill sets. We're making these recommendations.
I do recognize that, you know, the experts are making these recommendations, but people are tired now. People are pandemic fatigued, and we just want to get back to some normalcy. What happened to parent choice? I think it's time now that, you know, even though there is a new variant that we need to be careful of, that it's really time for the local governments to have a say in.
Jennifer, we appreciate your thoughts, and I want to hear more again about your thoughts on the dilemma that you face, and I know that your child has special needs as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it goes back to parents' choice, especially being the parent of a child with special needs. It's been even that much harder for him to be wearing the mask. But again, you know, the schools are not super spreaders, and it really is important at this point for parents to have say in what is best for their children. Again, I do believe that masks should not be mandatory or made universal. I do believe that we need to be aware of what our immediate surroundings and community needs are. And then perhaps we can make better peace with the mask recommendations of the CDC. But, you know, it really is a question of parents' choice. Where has it gone? It needs to be reinstituted into the decisions about mask wearing.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, and your son also. Thank you. You did a great job being with us today. We appreciate your views, and we hope that you have a very safe school season. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And we have some breaking news for you now. An infrastructure bill may be a done deal. Senate leaders say there's been a breakthrough in negotiations. We are live in D.C. now with the latest. And we want to go now to Jim Jordan to discuss this with us right now. Thank you for joining us. What can you tell us? What's the latest on this infrastructure plan?
I've not heard. You're giving me news. This is over in the Senate, so I don't know what the deal is. One thing we do know is that spending is out of control, and any deal is going to, I think, just drive up the cost of goods and services that Americans are already experiencing, which is in effect a tax on American families. So I'm opposed to this kind of spending, but I've not seen the specifics of the legislation.
Now, the big news, of course, is what's happening with this insurrection committee, and that's really what we want to get to here. Tell us what you're hearing and what your thoughts are on what's going on there in Washington.
Well, it's all political. I mean, the fact that Speaker Pelosi would not allow Leader McCarthy to have his the members he wanted on this committee just makes no sense, and shows, I think, just underscores how political this thing is. There's a fundamental question that needs to be answered, and that is why wasn't there a better security posture that day? Why wasn't there backup police or National Guard there to help the Capitol Hill police, the very police we heard testify yesterday? Why wasn't that the case? The only one who can answer that question is Speaker Pelosi, but Chairman Thompson has told us that's the one question that's off limits. The fundamental question is the one question they don't want to address, which again I think just shows this is all about going after the former president and one more political game from the Democrats.
You really think, though, with the video you saw, the testimony that you heard, all of the issues that happened that day, that this is just about going after the former president when we know that there were people whose lives were at risk that day, when we know that this is just not something that happens every day. This is Americans fighting Americans.
No, it was terrible, and the people who did wrong should be held accountable. And guess what? That's happening. This should never have happened to the Capitol Hill Police. That's why we need to find out why there wasn't more support there. Why wasn't there have been press reports that said Speaker Pelosi's office vetoed having the National Guard there before January 6th, and then on January 6th, there's been press reports that said she hesitated in calling up the National Guard. Now, why would that be? Why would she hesitate to do that? I think it's because what we see all last summer. We saw the Democrats talk about defunding the police. We saw them actually defund the police, and we saw the very rioters and looters who attacked police. We saw Democrats raise bail money to bail them out of jail. So with that backdrop, it's kind of hard to say, oh, we're for defunding the police, but oh, by the way, we want more of you to come here and protect us on January 6th. I think they were stuck there. So that's the question that needs to be answered. But again, this committee controlled by Democrats, handpicked and selected by Speaker Pelosi, they don't want to answer that or address that fundamental question.
Well, hopefully we will get to the facts, but thank you so much, Representative Jordan. We appreciate you joining us.
You bet.
And stay with us, everyone. We have much more news coming up. This is BNC Live.